It happened again, twice. Time, US News and World Report, and this comes after Forbes, USA Today. Independent research, different organizations, different methodologies, different measurements, but the evidence keeps pointing in the same direction: value, trust, people, impact. Now, most people are going to look at these recognitions and talk about a company. I'm looking at something much bigger. I'm looking at the household economy. Because after decades in leadership, finance, business, technology, and wealth education, I've come to a very simple conclusion. Most households don't have an income problem alone, they have a systems problem. And you cannot motivate your way out of a broken system. You cannot budget your way out of every broken system. And you certainly cannot build lasting wealth if nobody has ever taught you to evaluate the inputs and outputs of your own household economy. Think about it. Money comes into your household, then taxes take their portion, housing takes its portion, transportation takes its portion, debt takes its portion. And every single month, your household sends hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars into the marketplace through consumption. The question isn't, do you spend money? You do. The question is, has anybody ever taught you how to manage the economic system behind your spending? That's different. And that's why I created the household economic system. I'm Nate Scott, West Point graduate, combat veteran, former CFO of an Inc. 500 fast growing company, former licensed wealth advisor, entrepreneur, author of Life is Rich: How to Create Lasting Wealth, certified AI consultant. And here's what I need you to understand: those are credentials, they are not the mission. The mission is to help households and the organizations that serve them move from economic activity to measurable economic empowerment. Because I'm tired of us confusing activity with impact. We held the seminar. Great. We had 200 people in the room. Great. We taught financial literacy. Great. We posted the pictures. We wrote the report. But what changed in the household? Did cash flow improve? Did the tax burden become better understood? Did emergency savings increase? Did the household identify inefficient spending? Did somebody create their first legitimate business activity? Did anybody generate repeat income? Did financial decision making improve? Can we measure the transformation? Because if we cannot measure what changed, we need to be careful about calling it economic empowerment. This is where my work is different. I'm not coming into organizations with another motivational speech. I can speak. I'm not coming in with another financial literacy class. I can teach. And I'm not coming in chasing people with another opportunity. I understand business. I'm coming with a system: educate, engage, enroll, empower. We evaluate the household. We examine inputs. We examine outputs. We identify inefficiencies. We connect people to appropriate solutions. And then we measure: 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Because I believe economic empowerment should produce evidence. And this is why independent validation matters to me. When Forbes research points to value, when consumer research points to trust, when workplace research examines people, and independent organizations recognize impact, I don't see four awards. I see a pattern: value, trust, people, impact. And I believe the same architecture applies to a household. A household needs to understand value. A family needs relationships and systems it can trust. We must put people back at the center of economic strategy. And then we must measure the impact. That's the household economic system. Now, I want to speak directly to organizational leaders. If you lead a church, a chamber, a real estate association, a union, a veterans organization, an employer, a nonprofit, or an economic development initiative, I want to ask you one question. You already have the trust of your people, but can you document how their household economics are changing because of their relationship with your organization? That's not criticism, that's the opportunity. You may already have the people, you may already have the credibility, you may already have the mission. What you may be missing is the measurement system. That's where I come in. I'm not trying to replace what you're doing. I want to help you measure what you're doing. I want to help you identify the economic leaks that are happening inside the households you already serve. I want to help you build a 90-day pilot, establish the baseline, implement the system, measure the outcomes, and document the transformation. Because imagine what happens when a pastor can say, here's how household cash flow changed in our congregation. Imagine a union leader saying, here's how our members strengthened their household economic position. Imagine a real estate association saying, we didn't just help people buy property, we helped households become economically stronger. Imagine a chamber saying, we can show you the measurable economic impact happening at the household level. Now we're not talking about another event. We're talking about infrastructure. For most of my life, I've been trained to study systems. At West Point, I learned leadership. In the military, I learned execution. As a CFO, I learned that numbers tell a story. In wealth management, I learned how capital moves. As an entrepreneur, I learned cash flow. And in AI, I understand what becomes possible when we can analyze information, identify patterns, and improve decision making faster. For years, people looked at my background and thought, Nate does a lot of things. No, I've been studying one thing my entire adult life: systems. Systems of leadership, systems of money, systems of behavior, systems of business, systems of technology. And now I am applying everything I've learned to the most overlooked economic institution in America, the household. That's my lane. That's my work. And that's why I believe Life is Rich Global is uniquely positioned for this moment. I don't need everybody. I'm looking for leaders who understand that good intentions are no longer enough. Leaders who want evidence. Leaders who want measurable outcomes. Leaders who are willing to ask better questions. And leaders who understand that if we want to change communities, we have to strengthen the economic systems operating inside the homes within those communities. Household by household, family by family, system by system. My name is Nate Scott, and I study the household economy. I build systems that help people make better economic decisions, and I partner with organizations that are serious about creating measurable transformation. If that's the work you're trying to do, we should talk, because the next era of economic empowerment will not be built on more information. It will be built on better systems, and we're building them now. Again, Nate Scott. For more information, text HES at 904-544-7424. Remember, life is rich.